Hey, everybody. It's me, Henry Perez, again, here on the Take Five Challenge, one of your favorite podcasts with the Push to Play network here with CPRS. Just wanted to show you through this podcast what it looks like to take five. When I talk about taking five, it was a challenge that I gave our profession to take 5 minutes a month to connect with one another, right? To just take that five that you can still scroll, chat, or something like that, but connect with another professional, someone who's coming up behind you, someone who's right in the same area as you, or someone that's came before you. I believe truly that when we as professionals get together and connect, we sharpen each other, right? So as iron sharpens iron, we sharpen each other. This podcast really is intended to model what that would look like, whether it be a hallway conversation, water cooler conversation, lunchtime, whatever it may be, a little coffee talk. This is what we do through the Take Five Challenge. It's me and another professional connecting and really trying to, help each other out in the world of parks and recreation. As always, this Take Five Challenge is part of the Push to Play network with CPRS. We want to thank you for playing a part in this. And I'd like to invite you to just, when we come back, to join me as I speak with my guest, Tiarra Warner, from the city of Redwood City. And we have a little chat about, freshness, coming in new, all of those things. So we'll see how that goes, but I'll be right back. Hey, everybody, and welcome back. So excited here again to be back at the Take Five Challenge. And with me, my guest, Tiarra Warner. So excited to have you here. Hi, Tiarra. How are you today?
Hi. I'm great.
I like that. Hi.
I do it all the time. It makes me feel good.
I know. I think that I could feel that through your whole body and through mine as well. So I'm gonna have to take that one. I'm gonna try that a little later. So this is it's a good feel and a good vibe to kind of kick off with you on that hi. So
you could just say at the end, say bye, and see how
we'll see how we end up if I even remember that one. That's kind of cool. So Tiarra, if you don't mind, just kind of for those folks that are watching right now and paying attention, who are you? Where are you? All of that fun stuff. Give us a little, snapshot of, T-Dub.
Wow, who am I? That could take a while. My name's Tiarra Warner. My camp name is Wonder Llama. If anyone is wondering. I'm currently the director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Services for the city of Redwood City. That's a lot to say. I'm working on getting used to it.
How can you make that shorter? Because I've always seen that the city of Redwood City is kind of a tough one to make shorter. So, or RWC, is that what they call it?
RWC, but who knows what that means?
True.
Unless you're in the peninsula, right?
Yes. There you go. Well, welcome to Take Five. Welcome to hanging out. I really appreciate it. I was actually looking forward to just chatting with you a little bit because, we both are in the same boat, so to speak. So I'm like 126 days into a new job. I think you're, perhaps 100 in. You almost had 100 days or something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm like at 90 something now.
Which I think is cool. And I think it's a good opportunity for you and I as professionals and then others that might be watching to kind of, talk about what it's like to, I guess, start afresh and start anew. And it just made me start thinking about it. I wanted to see how, you were doing with the freshness, but then more specifically kind of ask some questions around that. So, but how are you doing in the new gig?
I'm doing great. It's interesting because at 3 months, you start to find a different calibration. Because when you first start, you're like, oh, I'm a new guy. I'm super new.
Yeah.
And at 3 months, you're like, whoa, now I know a lot of information. now my stack was this big. Now it's here. So I love my job a lot. I'm still getting used to the workload.
Yeah.
But the people are amazing. We have an amazing team. The community really loves what we do, which is helpful. But yeah, it's not I don't believe in work-life balance. I believe in work-life balance and what that looks like to be healthy and happy and at work. So I'm working on getting the right blend.
Yeah, no, that right blend when you're going somewhere new, I think is important because you don't know what the blend is, right? You've been somewhere for a lot of years. And how many years were you in Roner Park?
4. Yeah.
4. So that's a whole high school career, a whole college career, right? So
I graduated as a manager.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of cool. But walking in, but thinking, like for me, with the 13 years that I was in my previous, agency, you're coming in with all this stuff, right? That into a new school, so to speak. But yeah, I'm with you too. Like the staff is amazing, and I can't say enough about them here. But I'm trying to like curiously for you too. Is like, did you feel like you were and take it however I asked, but do you feel like you were prepped? Do you feel like your last, like how when you go to high school to college, where you're ready to go to college, where now you went through your last little season,
Yeah.
were you ready or do you feel prepared? And I can't ever say ready because I feel like we're only as ready as we're going to be, but I guess prepared is really more of the question.
Honestly, I felt very prepared to make decisions, which I
Hmm.
didn't know I would be.
Right.
I felt very prepared for that. And then it was almost like a validation that I was learning the right things
Yeah.
and getting the right information. What I wasn't prepared for was the amount of time people needed me or needed like
Yeah.
amount of people who wanted to see me.
Yeah.
Like that I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah. That's interesting. Why? I guess at each level we have a certain amount of peopling that we do, right? But I guess, yeah, when you're sitting in the top seat, everybody wants to, I guess, in one sense, get your opinion, get your decision, or
Mhm.
just bend your ear, right? Something
Mhm.
along those lines. So, and I'm sure I'm married of more of those things as well. It's like sometimes you feel like, do I ever sit? All I have is meetings. When do I
Mhm.
actually do my thing, right?
Yeah, I started making a list of all of the stakeholders, the people I needed to meet, and it's like at
Yeah.
15 to 20 right now, and I think I've met 12 of them. Uh, so I'm still working my way through the list. But I had like a 2-minute Zoom meeting one day, and I was like, "Do you have questions?"
Yeah.
And the person's like, "No, I'm going to." Oh,
Yeah, there is that. I think the community really because they're engaged, they want to know who the people are that they're working with and talking to and things like that. And I think um, it's important for us to be available to them, but then also recognize when you were talking about work-life balance for a second there, what is the balance at work, your work balance, right? I'm going to give to the community because that's who I serve, but I also
yeah.
know that I have to be willing to and able to say, hey, can we do this tomorrow? Or or we can do this another day. I was reading this book and I talked to my staff about this. How do we know how to really look at what our priorities are, what we're supposed to deal with first, right? And the concept of you address the closest alligator, right? If you were kind of in a canoe and there's a whole bunch of in a swamp with a bunch of alligators, which one are you going to deal with? Are you going to deal with the one that's 5 deep, or are you going to go with the
I'm
first one
getting out
here,
of the
right?
water.
Well, there is, but at this point too, it's like we can't help but be in the water,
Like,
right? So we're
yeah.
in the water, so let's deal with the closest alligator and kind of
Yeah.
go from there. The other thing that kind of made me think about is just like, yeah, you've been there, what, 3 months? I've been here 4 months, and even though it's been 3 months, it feels like I've been here forever, but it feels like I haven't been here at all.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, and it's just kind of that strange feeling, right? So, and I was thinking about, so what do we tell the peoples, Republic of all Parks and Rec professionals? Um, how do you manage the new, or like, what are some tips and tricks do you think, or what's getting you through the day, to remind yourself and to give yourself the grace that you might need, right? To be able to know that you're new and yet you're not at the same time.
Yeah, I have a really great relationship with my fellow department heads.
Yeah.
And I feel very lucky to be able to kind of pick their brains because the other day I asked 3 of them, the police chief, the fire chief, and our library director. I was like, "Is there a pay study found that works?" And they all said, "No." But knowing that I have folks kind of in the same boat, with a few alligators and crocodiles
Yeah.
around, is really nice. But ultimately, this job has made me remember how much I love being here at creation.
Yeah.
And so I've fallen deeper in love with this career, even though it's really hard some days and really busy. I just have this light in me that's like, this is cool. this is cool. And if I got to tell my 8-year-old self, this is what I'm doing, my 8-year-old self would be super excited.
Right.
And so that keeps me going. Like, this is what I asked for. This is what I dreamed of. So kind of remembering, um, it's a wish that's been granted. It's that I had to work for, but
Yeah.
it's what I asked for.
Excuse me. Yeah. What do you attribute that to? What do you attribute that new heart pump to?
I don't know. Like I think my why. Tom Holland always talks
Yeah.
about finding your why, and my why is truly like being able to provide opportunities for any and everyone in this because people voted for me. And now I'm at the decision making level where I can decide to say yay or nay to whatever may be.
Yeah.
But I get to be that person that is essentially paying it forward. I'm getting paid to pay it forward and
No.
for folks to come through. And I'm living in my why. I'm living in my purpose, and I'm aligned with everything that I think I'm meant to be doing in this world. So
Do you think you could have recognized that, like, I don't know, 3 years ago? That same why, or is it really the experience and the new gig that allowed you to kind of see that with
I
fresh
mean,
eyes, right?
when I first became a manager at Warner Park, I just moved 400 miles away.
Yeah.
And so I was learning a lot of things about new things about myself in a very short amount of time. And now that I've been out here and away from my kind of core, uh, this move was only 80 miles away this time. Um, and it came at a really tough time in my life. I'm gonna be very transparent. I had a
Yeah.
terrible breakup, and I got to move away from all the things that reminded me of that. So
Yeah.
it truly feels like a fresh start, and I have a lot more space for gratitude in the space because when I applied for this job, it wasn't like I'm running away
Yeah.
from it. It's like if this is meant to be, then it will be. And then when I went into the interview, I didn't over prepare. I didn't stress out. I went in as myself, and I said, any question they're going to ask me, I should be able to answer if someone walked in my door right now.
Yeah.
And they chose me. And so they didn't choose some random version of me that I was trying to, you know, show to a bunch of strangers and impress
Yeah.
them. They chose me. And so that's why I'm so comfortable in knowing I'm supposed to be here.
Super humbling though, too, right? I mean, I feel the same way. It's like they're like, okay, you're the guy. You're the guy who's going to take us to whatever's next, right? And you have to. And I think both of us, we had some long-standing folks who had been within this agency. So you know, you're not the past director. I'm not the past director for our agency, but I am who I am, and I'm going to lead the way I lead. And I'm hoping that this all matches up, right? And then we talk about, like, even with the things that we see them from a different perspective because we both haven't been here before. Right. But so these fresh eyes, how are your fresh eyes doing? And are they being shared, and are people grasping that and looking at it differently with you?
It's interesting. I was talking to Stephanie Stevens before I moved over here, and I was like, man, I have really big shoes to fill. And she's like, no, you don't. You have your own shoes.
Yep.
And that really has stuck with me. That has definitely stuck with me. And people here are appreciating the fresh eyes. And I have a tendency to look up in physical spaces
Yeah.
and into and non-physical spaces. Like, is there a policy for this, or other cities aren't doing it this way? Do we want to try it this way? And I think people have been like, oh, you've just done it that way. We
Yeah.
haven't thought about doing it. That sounds like a good idea. We should. And so I think I've been very lucky appreciating new energy, new eyes. But my fresh eyes are tired.
Yeah. No, I get you.
It is exhausting, in a good way because I have a long list of things and I have to remember that I just got to. So it's like, what can I get done this week? What can I get this
Right.
month? And really sinking into what needs to happen now.
That just made me think of, so do you feel like you have to be in a hurry to make your mark? or where are you at with that one?
Not necessarily leaving my mark. I'm not concerned about that feels like egocentric,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I'm not concerned about making my mark. I want to do a good job.
right.
And if they forgot that, if you forget my name, at least I can perfect and see the impact, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not.
No,
I already made my mark. I got.
no,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
all over the internet when I got this job.
No, no, I like that. I mean, it's more along the lines like, yes, I think everywhere we want to leave it better than we got it, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
how do you do that? And that was kind of the intent of that, and trying to figure out how, I think sometimes we as professionals are in a hurry to try and potentially prove to somebody that I was the right choice. And I've seen that time and time again. And I think mostly I've seen it with folks who are going to say a supervisor level, right? Because we talk about in the profession that perhaps the toughest jump is coordinator to supervisor. And then if you really kind of people think about that, so think about that, people who are listening. But when you're in there and you first get it, it's like, I got to prove to them that I am the supervisor. But part of the thing is like, you prove to us who you are. You're going to continue to be the supervisor as you learn. You're going to be a better supervisor every year's experience. And then like with you and I at different agencies, it's not about, I personally felt like I was in the season of life that could say, you know what, I am who I am. This is what I know. I know my value. I know my worth. I know what I want to bring to the city that I live and serve in. And I think that you're very similar. You know your value, you know what you can do, regardless of whether or not you know where the best sandwich shop is in the city or
That's Primo
Mediterranean
Deli
food.
in Redwood
There
City.
it is. So, right, regardless if you know that or not, you're going to learn that. I'm going to learn how this agency works, and I look forward to that. But I don't feel like I have to, like you said, I don't feel like I have to go plant my flag and go, look at me, I am. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm the dude who's been, fortunate enough to been handed the baton for this part of the relay, right? Because it's going to go to somebody else, at some point here. Uh, which I like and see. And I just want, I'm just kind of thinking about that for us and how that rolls and how that plays. And to remember that if it is ever becomes a struggle, to think that I have to make my mark, right?
Well, and I mean, you're a former CPRS president, my friend. Oh, so your mark has been made indelibly across
Yeah. Thank
the
you. And that is
profession.
humbling, but I appreciate that.
So how does it feel knowing that you already have a pre-stamped mark? Like it might not be on San Ramon, but it's a little bit because you've made an impact in your role in CPRS leadership.
I'm all dang, look at just throwing stuff back at me. No, well, I mean, like that, what I think it did, and what I'll say is this, is that I felt and feel prepared for what comes next. A lot of things feel very familiar because I have experienced them in some way, shape, or form. Right. And it's really come back to me. And that was actually going to be one of my questions to you is like, have you found one of these experiences that all of a sudden you're like going into a little brain housing group, right? And you can see yourself going through your little Rolodex going, oh, I've been through that experience.
Yeah.
Hold on. Boop. Let's go. Okay. Now here's my 2 cents because of that experience or the other thing.
Well, yeah, and I think because Cindy Badlick was my last boss, and I told her this was like because she was so transparent about as much as she could with me about what was going on. There's things that come up and go, oh, I'm not stressed about that, or oh, there's precedent for this, or there's other people have experienced this, or my boss, or so we're fine. Like, this is how we can prepare. So I truly appreciate how much she was able to share with me. And that's the advice I have for folks who are looking for the next step. It's like whatever you can glean from your boss, sit in and listen on a meeting or just ask questions. So you're not riddled with surprises when you make the next step. Like that's the best way to kind of not be surprised. And you're still going to get surprises.
Yeah. No, I love that because I think also we're sit there and it's like, if you are that person that you and I know we're going to try and bring up our people to take our roles on. It's like, yeah, think about it. Like I challenge people. If you tell me one day that, yes, I want to be a director. Okay, then start listening for those little things. Start listening when you're at a meeting and you hear a question and you hear me respond. Perhaps you can respond to yourself silently and then see how that matches up for the particular thing. I remember doing that with one of my old directors and kind of just watching and paying attention and in my head going, okay, this is how I'd answer it. And then he would answer it. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. But that comes with experience and where you sit and things like that. So at each level that you're at, you know, you want to go to the next one, start answering as if, and just keep track and keep notes. And I think you're right on with that, you know, for us to do that. And I hope, you know, that in that people will learn and grow. And I'm so happy that you felt prepared, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to be that same type of leader, right? It's like, here it is. Here's why I'm making this decision. And
Yeah.
some days I will be able to tell you the full story just because here I have it all. And some days I might not have the whole story, but I might have a gut that says all of my however many summers plus today equals this decision.
Right.
So, and then
And I
that's all I guess.
I think it's cool too that I've been able to work in other cities,
Yeah.
across the state of California.
Yeah.
So big cities, small cities, I can say, well, you know, Signal Hill is a city of like 10 or 11,000. They handled it this way. And then Long Beach, which is the same size as Sonoma County, handled it this way. So there's lots of stuff to pick and choose from. And I think my city manager's been grateful for that too. She's like, you have a lot of experience
Yeah.
in different municipalities, which is great.
Yeah, all of that plays. So all of the years that you grew into this profession plays. And just imagine the next couple of years and where you'll be in 3. Will you be in the next 4, right? When you next graduate, you know, your next thing before you go into your doctorate or whatever it is. But it is kind of just interesting how it all shapes us, you know, and even when we're starting afresh, starting anew, the new really comes with a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I
I
think that's
totally
really cool. So I have to ask because, you know, I just appreciate this time with you. So I know that you are a proponent of taking 5 with people, and I want to continue just to encourage the challenge for you. Please, you know, I know, well, you can do it probably daily right now, you know, with your staff, but just remembering to bring that up. Would you continue the challenge on of taking 5 with other Parks and Rec professionals?
Will I? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's all I need. Yeah, I needed that one. And then if someone wanted to get a hold of you, where can they get a hold of you?
They can email me or give me a call, shoot me a text, find me on Teams. If you have Teams, I'm at twarner at redwoodcity.org. If you have Teams and your organization allows you to talk to other agencies, do that. I can pop into the Roanoke Park folks and go, hi.
Hi. So I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you for that. Thanks, you for just spending time with me and just having this conversation. I'm a little bit encouraged right now, so I like
That's
that.
great.
Just yeah, no, it's cool. It's like it's just a reminder of like, hey, you know, 126 in, 120, almost 100 for you, and we're still here and we're still powering through and learning. And I just appreciate your time. I appreciate your time and what you provide here. So. You know how to get a hold of Tiarra, so she told you go Teams. So before I kind of sign off with you, I say bye to you, and I will be right back with some final thoughts on my conversation with Miss Warner here. So we'll be right back. And we're back. Just had a nice conversation with Tiarra Warner, the director in the city of Redwood City. Really, you know, what was kind of fun here for me was just talking about like, you know, looking at how our experiences really shape us from, you know, whether it be the last 4 years, whether it be the last 13 years, into being prepared, into being ready for what's next, or ready to whether it's make decisions or have conversations and speak with some sort of knowledge and authority. And I think that that's really key to understand that what we bring from yesterday really does help us today. So if you're out there and trying to figure out, you know, I don't have the experience to do this or that or take on this new role, I'd say, no, you do. If you stop and think about what happened, you know, before you got here to build who you are today, it's only going to make you that much stronger, only going to make you that much better to move forward into what's next. It's going to allow you to be the next voice of whatever spot you're in, and also to be the fresh eyes to look at things perhaps a little bit differently and ask yourself, hey, can we do this different? Or why is it that we do this? And really to open up the conversation to make it wherever you are that much better. Right. So we're seeing it happen with Tiarra, and in Redwood City, she's able to kind of just look into what they have, who they are, and just ask the questions to learn. Because as we learn about where we are, it allows us to be able to perhaps make that one little small change that will make things that much better, which is really cool. But I do appreciate the time that I had with her, and just lets me kind of think about being prepared, how past experiences help me, and really how my fresh eyes can perhaps make a difference. So just like yours can. As always, we're here on Take Five. You can get a hold of me through Instagram. You can DM me at the Take5 _challenge. Shoot me a message. Let me know what you want me to talk about. I would love to hear that from you. But then, as always, I just want to thank CPRS, the Push to Play Network, for having Take Five as part of the Push to Play Network, and really kind of being out there and being able to share another resource for you as a professional as we continue to sharpen each other, but more importantly, intentionally take the time to connect. So we'll see you next time on Take Five.